Non-Monogamy Help is a podcast where your questions about polyamory, open relationships, and non-monogamy get real answers. Your host, Lola Phoenix, is the author of The Anxious Person's Guide to Non-Monogamy and has been answering listener questions since 2019. Names and details are changed to protect your anonymity.
Welcome to episode 186 of the Non-Monogamy Help podcast. I'm Lola Phoenix. Please send your questions to ask@nonmonogamyhelp.com, and they'll either be in the podcast or the column anonymously. You're more than welcome to let me know which one you'd prefer. You can read all the columns and get all the information about my books and courses and all of that jazz at nonmonogamy.help. Sign up to the emails I send out on Wednesdays by going to nonmonogamyhelp.com/email. And you can follow the column on Instagram at nonmonogamyhelp and on TikTok at nonmonohelp. If you want to join the podcast shoutout support tier, then I will, with your permission, read your name at the end of the podcast. And you can do that by going to nonmonogamyhelp.com/subscribe. I'm always interested in promoting apps or activities that bring people together, and that's why this week's episode is sponsored by the app Be More Kinky. Be More Kinky is the leading app for helping couples in kinky or non-monogamous relationships understand their kinks, communicate them with their partners, and organize play. What's really great is that you can add more than one partner. It can be really great if you're in a long-distance relationship to maintain your dynamic. Every single feature in the app is designed around consent. Proposals must be accepted, tasks can be negotiated, and consent and communication is reinforced across every single feature. I'll also be doing a full review of the app on my Instagram account. If you would like to learn more about the app, you can go to bemorekinky.com. All right, let's get to this week's discussion question. If this is the first episode you're listening to, every week before I do the question, I put forth a discussion question that you can use with your friends, partners, or anyone to get to know them a little bit more. And I also try to answer it myself briefly to give you a little bit of context. We're doing another Otter Being Polyamory conversation card question because they're awesome. You can get them at nonmonogamyhelp.com/cards and get 10% off using non-monohelp at checkout. Anyway, this is this week's question. How much and in what way would you ideally communicate with your partner or partners when you're not physically together? I think it depends. I don't think I have a hard and fast rule about that because for me, one of the things and one of the reasons why I hate dating is because I like to be really communicative digitally. I like to send messages, and I don't like feeling like I'm carrying a conversation. I don't need for a conversation to be intense and paragraphs long. And that's fun. I have definitely enjoyed things like that where it's we end up writing these really long responses to one another, and that's really fun. But I don't necessarily need that. I just need for it to not feel like I'm carrying the conversation. When I get a message from that person, if I'm oh, great, it's my turn now, that is such a bad sign. And I no longer, because I've had people in my life who I've dated who have been so great. I get a message from them and I'm oh, I'm excited because they're going to say something interesting and I'm going to say something interesting back. And yeah, it has been those long ass paragraph conversations, but it doesn't have to be. It just has to be I don't want to feel like I'm carrying the whole fucking conversation. And if I feel like that, if I get a message from somebody and I'm oh, I don't really want to, it's my turn to carry this weight. That is, I will disengage. It used to be that I engaged with that for a long time and I carried the conversation and I went out on a first date with them because I felt I don't know, because my attraction to people doesn't always happen really fast. I just thought maybe I would feel something, but nah, I need that I need reciprocal. It's not, to me, it's about how much. It has to do with reciprocal because I have friendships now where we don't necessarily talk every day, but we send things to each other and we it's reciprocal. So, and they could go a couple days without talking to me. That would be fine. But I know that they will check in on me. I have friendships as well where sometimes we don't talk for months. I have friendships where we have a call every week, almost every other week, and sometimes we miss weeks because we're busy. But it's reciprocal. I think that reciprocity is the most important thing to me when it comes to that, rather than necessarily the exact quantity. So yeah, the question is, to repeat it, how much and in what way would you ideally communicate with your partners when you're not physically together? I guess I kind of missed the in what way, digitally, obviously. Yeah. Anyway, let's get to this week's question. I've been needing some help with my new relationship. I'm struggling with the new relationship energy. I've been with my partner for almost 6 years now. We've discussed having a third before, but we ultimately ended the idea and decided that I could just get a girlfriend to fill the needs I've been missing. When we found our new partner, we were so confused because we never thought finding a third partner was real, but we're both excited and wanting to change our relationship for this to work. We've always discussed making sure the relationships are separate because we have a friend group that is a triad, and they never let their man take them on separate dates or really get any separate time with them. So we knew for us we wanted this to be different. We all agreed to take the relationship separately and together very seriously. We have great communication, always talk about what's bothering us, and overall really care a lot about each other. Where I'm struggling is my existing partner doesn't seem like he wants to be around me as much since we started this. We've had issues come up and jealousy came to play with me the first few times we all hung out. But even after our conversations, they still are somewhat holding me at an arm's distance. Last time we all hung out was amazing, but I could still feel like he didn't really want to be around me when he was. He was generally more involved and happier when spending time with our other partner, even when I was at my best. I'm really struggling with how to deal with this because I'm not trying to be jealous, but it's really hard not to be when I can physically see my partner not wanting to be around me as much as our new partner. I tried to talk to them about this and they saw it as an attack. I'm not allowing them to express themselves fully with our new partner, but that's not the case. I just want him to want to be around me as much as I want to be around him and our new partner. Our partner is long distance, so when we do see each other, it's natural for us to want to give more time to her because we don't get to see her as much, but I still feel forgotten about often. Another issue is our partner. She feels like our connection is so strong that they're trying to strengthen their relationship with him. This hurt me the last time we hung out because it didn't feel like she wanted to be around me. She really just wanted to be around him. I let them have their alone time, and I've expressed countless times that I want them to have a separate trip. I've even offered to buy his flight for him. For me right now, I just want this to feel normal. We all have an attraction to each other, but because they want to feel more connected to each other, it leaves me on the outside. I don't know what else I can do or say to help alleviate that. On top of that, he has been treating me differently at home. He doesn't want to cuddle me or give me as much affection, and I rarely hear compliments anymore. It's making me feel unappreciated and unloved for all the things I do for this man, which is a lot. I don't want to leave my partner. I love him so much and we've cultivated an amazing life together. But I don't know how I'm supposed to stay happy in the relationship when I see him giving less happiness and attention towards me and more towards her. He doesn't smile at me like he used to. He doesn't want to kiss or hold me like he used to. But it's so easy for him to do it with her. I'm really struggling with wanting to keep this triad because it's amazing and I know it can flourish, but also wanting to leave because my partner is treating me differently and I don't feel like they want to connect with me like they do with each other. Me and him have had many talks. We've expressed how we both feel and what we need, but I feel very stuck in how to make the next move and what to do. It's exceptionally hard because when me and him do talk about things, he sees it as an attack on him, when really I just want to feel heard and understood and find a resolution to our issues. Any advice would be appreciated, because I don't know what else I can do or say in this time of our relationship. Before we get to this week's answer, I want to quickly remind you of this episode's sponsor, BetterHelp. Quite often in a lot of my columns and podcasts, I encourage people to seek a polyamory-friendly therapist. For a lot of people looking locally for a therapist who might be supportive or even know what polyamory is, can be impossible or out of their budget. BetterHelp allows you to find therapists online that you can send messages to at any time of day, and they do offer some financial aid. You can get 10% off your first month by using the promo code Non-Monogamy Help at checkout or going to betterhelp.com/non-monogamy help. Let's get to this week's answer. So I kind of want to highlight first and foremost that you say in your letter, you say explicitly, we have great communication, always talk about what's bothering us, and overall really care a lot about each other. Personally, I feel like if you are telling your partner that something is upsetting you, and it's okay if they're defensive at first, but if they always take it as an attack on them and they never are able to come to the table with less defensiveness, and if they're never able to come to you with like, I don't want you to feel this way, or I want to solve this problem, if like that's all that happens when you bring up issues is like, why are you attacking me? That's not great communication. You may be talking about stuff, but nothing is getting resolved because anytime you do bring things up, it's seen as an attack, and that is going to encourage you not to bring anything up. Like, that's the only result of that. And like I said, it's understandable for people to get defensive, especially because sometimes when we do talk about feelings, especially in situations like this, it can be so much about like, you know, you don't want to be the jealous person, but then you obviously can't help. Like, this is a very clear case where jealousy is totally fucking warranted. and where jealousy is not the enemy because it makes sense. And you don't want to like compare, but at the same time, it's kind of hard not to compare in this situation because you're seeing very visible evidence that your partner is capable of treating someone this way. And they used to treat you that way, and now they're not. So yeah, I want to just point that out, that this communication is clearly not good. And there may be some aspects of you trying to make this situation a lot better than it is in your mind. So just reread what you've written. Try to be a little bit more, I don't want to say negative, but like you're flowering it up a bit. And I think that it's a coping mechanism. It's helping you deal with the fact that this is not a great situation to be in, but it's also sometimes preventing you from seeing the problems, right? The one other thing I want to say is I hate like the use of the word a third has all kinds of problems, which I'm sure that has been pointed out to you if you've been involved in polyam communities. And if you haven't, I do have like an FAQ on my website where I explain like using the word a third and why people have problems with that. I totally understand. It's super fun when like you and your partner fancy the same person. It is so fun. And I get like why people want to be in triads, why triads are fun, why the idea is really fun. And sometimes the reality of a lot of those situations are fun, threesomes are fun, but like it is kind of unrealistic to expect that individual relationships will be identical. I don't think that there is necessarily any problem with the idea that like this new girl might feel more strongly towards your partner than towards you. And nobody should be forced to pretend. And that's not what I think you're asking for here. But I just want to make it, I just want to kind of give context to this because it's very easy in these situations, especially when you and your partner fancy the same person, to want to think like, oh, we're both going to have the same type of feelings and it's going to be intense and the same for both of us. And it isn't always. And sometimes you might find that, yeah, like the NRE of the situation, the attractiveness, the same exact way that happens in monogamy, but I think we just kind of forget about that. Sometimes you get that NRE, it's a new person, it's exciting, it's and then that dies down, and then you're like, ooh, actually, I don't know if I'm as attracted anymore. Like sometimes that happens, and it's not because anybody's at fault. Somebody's at fault here, but I'll get to that later. But that can happen. And so I think it's if you enter the situation again going forward, just be kind of realistic with yourself about, hey, okay, we're all into each other now. This is great. But sometimes other relationships develop more organically in certain ways. And you can't always compare apples to oranges. And, you know, in this situation, I know people are going to be listening to this like, what are you talking about, Lola? Trust me, I'll get to it. But just be aware of that going forward. Like that is something that can happen as much as like it's all like happy and flowers and it's so fun. I understand that draw so badly when your partner and you like the same person. It's like, hallelujah, I get it. But it's not necessarily that it has to end badly, but the idea that like everybody's going to like each other in the exact same way is a little bit unrealistic. Now that I've handled that, what bothers me about this situation and what I'm super angry on your behalf for is the withdrawal of affection and attention towards you. Like, I know that like I generally encourage people not to compare themselves with their like metamors, but this is so like on the nose, comically fucking obvious that it would like it's almost like gaslighting. It's not gaslighting. I know that but like literally be not wanting to cuddle you as much. Like, and I'm not saying you should be forced to cuddle you or forced to like, but you're clearly experiencing a withdrawal of affection. You get this kind of feeling when you're all together that like they kind of want to be together more so than hang out with you. And that's fine. But what's not fine is like making you go like, oh no, babe, it's just in your mind. It's just thinking it. And then you bringing it up. Like, I feel attacked. I feel like I'm not able to express myself. That's not what you're fucking saying. I'm so mad. I'm so mad on your behalf because like it's such a like, it's not gaslighting, but I do feel like this is a hellish situation. Like to witness somebody that was like super affectionate and attentive towards you to just slowly stop doing that. I think it's triggering me, to be honest, because I had a friendship that was kind of like this. I had a friendship where we were like really like we were best friends. Like literally I thought we'd be friends to our death. And like our friendship was so strong that I felt like I didn't even necessarily need a romantic partnership in my life because I got so much out of this friendship. And I slowly felt them pulling away from me. And I reacted badly to it. I didn't confront the situation head on. I just stopped talking to them, which was a really stupid thing. But hey, I was young. I didn't know how to handle conflict. And we tried to reconcile the situation, and their way of reconciling it to me was going like, you have to believe me when I say that you're my friend. You know, it was almost kind of like, you're crazy, bitch. They didn't say that, but it was like that. And then something happened, basically, which I won't go into details with, but it became obvious that they actually didn't want to be that close of friends with me. It was so fucked up. Like, I get people not wanting to have that conversation, and I get people not knowing what to do when someone is like obviously super into you in whatever kind of way. I get why people don't know what to do when someone else has super intense feelings and they can't really feel like they mirror those feelings and not really knowing how to handle that and maybe sort of procrastinating on talking to them about it, and then things develop even more. And it might be super awkward for your partner to be in a situation where they do find themselves connecting more strongly with somebody else than with you, or what feels like that. I mean, it might be just NRE. You just got to keep that in mind. But like, and it also might be, you know, absence makes the heart grow fonder. Sometimes being away from somebody, you don't get to deal with all of their annoying shit, especially like when you don't live with them. You get all the good parts of them. You don't have to pick up their laundry all the time. And like, I kind of wonder if you're doing the laundry picking up, because it kind of sounds like that, but you don't have to deal with all of the foibles. So it's super easy to have this like Halo-esque picture of them because you're not around them all the time. They don't have the chance to annoy you as much as somebody who is. I can get that. But what you're doing, like the slow withdrawal of affection is fucked up. Like, I just feel like that's inherently fucked up. And again, it's not because he's required to give you a certain amount of affection. You're not walking around with like an affectometer measuring how much affection he gives you. You're not making a tally or making a score, but like you can fucking see this happening in front of you. And other people are going like, it's not happening, crazy. What are you talking about? I love you. And that is crazy making. Even if it's not officially gaslighting, it is crazy making. And I'm so sorry you're going through that, because it's not cool. It's not okay. And you're right to confront this. You're right to talk about this. And again, I totally understand the defensiveness, especially in a situation where like there is like people can be hyper aware of like how they like triads can be super awkward. People are hyper aware of how they behave. She's probably hyper aware of the fact that like you guys have been together, you have a more established relationship with each other. That's intimidating. There's a lot of things that come out of that. But I think that like, think about this, like if your partner comes to you with something that is hurting and wanting to change it, they should be wanting to change that too. Or they should at the very least be able to express some type of feeling like, I don't want you to be hurt. I'm sad that you are sad. I want to work on this together. We are a team and I want to build with you and create a solution to this. Even if they feel attacked, like they can feel attacked, but they should still be willing at some point to work with you. Now, it's up to you because you have been together for quite a long time. It sounds like you have a tied life together. And I really, really hope like whatever else you're doing, because you're like, I've given all the things I do for this man. Stop doing things for that man. I'm so sorry. I'm so triggered in so many ways by this. You don't need to do all these things for this man. This man is a man. This man can do things. So whatever you're doing, like if you find yourself in that situation, speaking as a person who has been in so many situations, way too many, where I have given a lot to somebody and they like, I've not given it with the intention of like, I'm going to get something back. Like I have genuinely given it out of the goodness of my heart, but they've treated me like shit. And that is such a horrible situation to be in. And you can't help feel, but like, even if you didn't intend on like necessarily getting something back, you still expected to be treated fucking decently. And then when you're not, there's like so much like post like resentment that you didn't have before, but now you have now. Like if you notice that and pay attention to it. Like I feel unappreciated and unloved, not just because of this exchange, but because I'm giving a lot in this relationship. Is it an equal relationship? Because that is like, even if this other person wasn't involved, even if there was no other triad situation, that is something to pay attention to. Like, please don't be in that kind of a situation, because I've been in that situation and I had nobody to blame but myself, really, because I'm the one who decided I'm going to give this much. I'm the one who decided, like, you know, it's not a fun situation to be in. So please do pay attention to that. But given you've been together for a long time, you know, I would also, if you can find a couple, like a polyamorous couples therapist, definitely seek that out. Express your unhappiness and I would focus for now less on the interactions between all three of you, because like that's something you can handle at a later point. I think like it's always kind of weird and the energy will die down. And like, maybe, like I said, like maybe you can kind of get over maybe you can kind of have this understanding that there might be a different connection. Like she may feel more strongly towards your partner than she feels toward you. It doesn't have to mean an end to the triad. It doesn't even necessarily have to be bad, but just kind of be cognizant of whether or not you're assuming that needs to be the case. So put that on the shelf for now. But what really, really needs to be addressed is the fact that you have tried to raise this with your partner, and the only response back from what you've written that you've gotten so far is, I feel I'm attacked. I feel I'm attacked. I feel I'm attacked. This shouldn't be about attacking. Like, there might be a way that you're phrasing it, I don't know, that triggers defensiveness, and there might be a better way of phrasing these things. But on a basic level, like coming to your partner and saying like, hey, I'm feeling really unhappy. I don't feel loved right now in our relationship together when we spend time together. All the stuff that you've mentioned, like send that to a therapist. Like, he doesn't want to cuddle me. I don't hear compliments anymore. He doesn't smile at me. He doesn't want to kiss or hold me like he used to. Ugh! And it's like, I get that like seeing him do that with her is like reminding you of the fact that he can do this. And it's not that he's not capable. Like, he doesn't have like, I mean, he could have depression, but like, you know, it's a clear example that he's capable of this. So you can't chalk it up to him not being capable of it. But that would be a problem whether or not there's a third person or not. Like, think about it that way. Like, if there was no third person involved, if there was no triad involved, and he just suddenly withdrew all this thing, like, yeah, you'd probably be more concerned with like his mental health and like what's going on there than you necessarily would be like, oh, I'm being jealous. But it would be a problem regardless. So it has to be addressed. And he can't just be like, oh, I feel it. Like, I get that he feels attacked. All right, that's fine. See if you can get a mediator. See if you can get a couples therapist. Since you've invested all this time, see if there is any way he's willing to make this as a resolution. And you need to talk about the whole, like, I've given him, I feel underappreciated and unloved for all the things that I do for this man, which is a lot. Don't get stuck in a sunk cost fallacy here, my dude. Like, please do not. Yes, you've given a lot. Yes, you might have like, maybe you've given too much that you shouldn't have given, but like, do not stay in a relationship because of a sunk cost fallacy. Like, please look that up if you don't know what it is. Don't stay in a relationship for that reason. I know it sucks. I too have given way more than I should have in situations. And that's one of the reasons why I pointed out the reciprocity in the conversation card question. Reciprocity is really important to me because I give too much sometimes, and I have to be super aware of that. So like, that's something to work out as well on your own and think about, because you don't have to. I know that that's like, that might be part of the relationship escalator that you're still following and that you do not have to do. So yeah, I think just to recap, I'd have more, make sure that you're approaching triads now and in the future with the realistic expectation that as much as you might feel strongly all about each other in the beginning, natural differences between relationships might develop, and that isn't necessarily a reason to end any relationships, but it may just mean that things are a little bit different. And you seem flexible with that. Like, you're like, literally, I'll buy him a flight and they can go off together. Like, they can take their own trips together. That's fine. It seems like you're willing to accept that might be the case, but I'm just highlighting that just in case. And it's not your fault, and it's not like it's not because of you've done something wrong. Like, sometimes it just happens, and that's, it is what it is. The withdrawal of affection and all of this stuff really has to be addressed. And yes, your partner is allowed to feel defensive about things. Like, we all get defensive. We all sometimes feel attacked when a partner says they're unhappy. That's totally normal. That's totally fine. But ultimately, he has to be willing to work with you on this stuff. And, you can do that through a couples therapist. You can suggest things. But if you're like continuously trying to solve this problem and all he is doing is, I feel attacked, I feel attacked, I feel attacked, and there's no way to change this, then you're running swiftly out of options for what you can do to deal with another grown adult's behavior. Because it's like the 3 C's that I learned from Matthias Barker, who, I hope I'm saying his name right, which is confront, consent, or cut. So when you have a problem, you can confront it, you can ask for it to change, you can consent, you can accept that like, hey, this is how it's going to be, this is how I'm going to be treated from here on out, or you can cut your losses and leave. Unfortunately, you can't make him want to fix this situation if he doesn't want to fix it. And then last but not least, please, this thing just screams out at me, maybe because of my own issues and has nothing to do with you, but the idea that you have done all these things for this man. Don't do these things for this man. I'm sorry. I just genuinely want you to think about that, and genuinely want to make sure that you're not over-sacrificing and over-giving in a relationship. And even if that was fine because you got all this attention and affection, just think about that. Just think about it. Think on it. Maybe you're fine with it. And you're only not fine with it now that he's just decided to like fucking ignore you, which is horrible, and I'm mad on your behalf. But just think on it. Think about whether or not, like, are you giving it because you genuinely want? Because like I have given stuff, I'm going to just recap. I have given stuff out of the goodness out of my heart, but also there's an issue for me personally with like, I think that I have to be useful to be loved. And that is, it's a constant struggle of like, am I giving this because I really want to give this, or am I giving this because I think if I'm not useful, then I'm not loved? It might be a mystery. And I might not only, not figure that out until later. And sometimes it may not be that big of a deal because I might get rewarded for being self-sacrificing in some situations. But I just don't want you to do what I did. So just think on that a little bit. Talk with a therapist about it. Maybe it's nothing. Maybe I'm just being triggered by my own shit, but I'm just pointing it out. So yeah. I think if your partner is not willing to address this and is not willing to listen to the fact that you're hurt and to come to that, if he can't get out of his own feelings and come to that with a realization that he doesn't want you to be hurt and he wants to address the situation, then, and his only like retreat is like, I feel attacked, or to basically call you crazy without calling you crazy. Like, never stop screaming about the elephant in this fucking room. Like, do not be tricked into thinking that this is all in your head. Like, and I don't know the situation. I'm not physically there. Obviously, I'm listening to your words and I trust your word because I have no other choice but to. But like, if this is something you've noticed, then pay attention to it, and it should be talked about regardless. So yeah, I hope that helps, and good luck. Thank you for listening to episode 186 of the Non-Monogamy Help podcast. If you want to be awesome, you can sign up on the website. Support me by going to nonmonogamyhelp.com/subscribe. And there is where you can become a podcast shout-out supporter, with your permission, of course. My current podcast shout-out supporters are Mike Kender and Claire Nilo. If for whatever reason you can't support economically, there are some things you can do. Subscribe on the free tier by going to the same website. You get all the things in your inbox on Friday. You can get them on Wednesday by going to the special email by signing up at nonmonogamyhelp.com/email. And you can take a screenshot of the podcast, tag it. I would be more than happy to say thank you so much for it. It helps people know that the podcast exists. Because some people, when I meet them, they're like, you have a podcast? I do. Rate and review the podcast on iTunes and Spotify. And also, if you're new to polyamory and you're quite overwhelmed and you wish that there's things that you could do right away rather than reading 6 books, I think reading is good, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. I'm an author. It would kind of be silly if I thought that you shouldn't read. You should read. But if there's things you want to do right away, I do have a course for that, like a self-paced audio-based course that you'll also have access to office hours with me so I can answer your questions right away. And you will be able to access all of that through polyamoryfasttrack.com. So yeah, you can read more about it there. I'm blabbering. That's all for this week. You'll get a new column next Friday, another podcast episode in a fortnight. Thank you so much for listening. You've been listening to Non-Monogamy Help. The music was done by Chris Albury Jones at albury-jones.com. Thank you for listening. It's making me feel... Okay. Okay.